Hi friend, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna write an email and I'm inviting you for the journey. So again, the idea is just that you get to see what a copywriter would be thinking like when writing an email, and hopefully that's gonna give you some confidence and some ideas for when you are writing copy, whether that's for your own business or whether that's for your clients. This will work for you. So let me make myself smaller, just so I'm not taking up most of the space. Put my super smart glasses on so I look intelligent while I do this. Okay, so just to walk you through what kind of email I'm writing, this is a birthday flow email. So a birthday flow is an email flow or an email sequence that you would see a lot of e-commerce brands use, but also other types of brands. And basically, when you have super smart software like Klaviyo, you can collect your customers' birthdays, and then on their birthday or any time before their birthday or after their birthday, you can send them messages. So when I started thinking about the birthday flow for this specific customer, I wanted to do something special. So normally you see that brands will send out a coupon like, hey, it's your birthday, here's 10% off or free shipping or whatever. But I was thinking this brand is based on, it is a product-based brand, so they are selling a physical product, they're selling jewelry, but at the same time they have a very good connection and they're striving to have a really good and deep connection with their audience. So I came up with this strategy to actually start the birthday flow 6 months before the person's birthday. And what I want to do is send out the first email 6 months before, and then send out another email 3 months before their birthday and another one on their birthday, and then again. So we're kind of keeping the birthday flow going in 3-month segments. So and it's not going to be based on discounts, but this brand is very inspirational and it has a beautiful story. So I want to use this opportunity to connect with the audience as opposed to just selling to them. Now, when you work with different brands, you will see that they all have different goals that they want to reach and they have different strategies. Some brands are purely driven by discounts, right? So they heavily rely on discounts and it's just what they're happy with and that's the way they want to keep things going. Other brands want to run their entire business not on discounts but based on connection, and they really want people to just trust them and be very loyal to them. For example, when you look at Apple never discounts their products, but they are one of the most successful businesses that exist. But they don't rely on discounts because they've built such brand loyalty that people are very happy to pay full price for the items, and they're happy to even line up for like a day to get the new items as they come out. So the brand that I'm working on, we're kind of going more for Apple as opposed to, a discount driven brand. We want to really connect with the audience and create brand loyalty and this kind of excitement around new things and a deep connection with the audience, so that my customer becomes the customer in their customer's head for jewelry in this case, because that's what their brand is based on. So this is why you will not see any selling per se in these emails, but it's still very important to engage the reader and to connect them. And the way we do that is through storytelling. And then, with an email like this, if you tell a good story or you really give a lot of value in the email, you can literally sell with one sentence in the PS. And we've seen that happen where, for example, we would send out an email that would have zero selling in it. Like, I'm talking not even in the PS. Like, there was nothing there except for the logo, which would link to the main shop. But there was no CTA saying go and click, that link to buy something or whatever. And these emails perform just as well, if not better, than emails that are directly selling to consumers. So this is just to give you an idea of how things work, and so that you don't always have to drive like these super salesy, anxiety driven emails. You can also just write genuine storytelling emails, and this can sustain a brand and make it flourish and bloom, and it can, you know, build it more into an Apple kind of brand, as opposed to a brand that just kind of comes up and then, you know, disappears because people forget about it. So that was the theory, I guess. Now I'm going to kind of tell you what I already did. So this part is the first email that I had written, and it was literally when I sit down to write an email, the first thing I do is I open up my document and I just type. Like, I just let the ideas free flow and I write whatever, you know. I'm just kind of as if I was talking to the person. I imagine the client avatar in front of me, or if I was really just typing an email to a friend or somebody, getting the message that I want to get across. And even though this message hasn't been thought through, like, let me just tell you roughly what I came up with. So the reason I want to check in with them 6 months before and then like 3 months later and blah, 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 is because I want to talk to them about the idea of setting goals, but not in like a, you know, I'm setting my goals so I can, like, this kind of anxiety driven goal setting, but more like this inspirational wish making and dreaming. That's kind of the brand voice. We're not going for like, now of course you could be working for a brand that has a different way of doing things. Maybe they are more like you know, pushy, and even if they're telling stories, they're coming from like this masculine place of, you know, this is how you do it. But this particular brand that I'm working with, the voice is a woman, and she's, you know, she's encouraging her audience through story, but not in like a, not, we're trying to strike the balance of not like making them anxious with this email, like, oh my god, it's 6 months until my birthday, what have I done with this year? But it's more like we just want them to reflect and be like, hey, you know, how are things? I'm checking in with you. I want to inspire you to reflect on the last 6 months, right? So that's the idea for the email. Now you could be writing different flows. You could be writing a welcome sequence or welcome flow, which would be telling the story of the brand, or, you know, presenting the benefits and the social proof. But you still have to think through every email and like think about the message, the main message that you want to deliver with each email. So for me, the main message of this email is to kind of, I want the reader to feel like, wow, like this brand is different, first of all, because no other brand is doing this, like reaching out 6 months before, right? No other brand that this woman is shopping with. Maybe some brands are. I'm not saying I'm the first one to think of this specific strategy, but I really want them to feel like, okay, this brand is not just selling me stuff. They also give me like deep value that's helping me to make my life better in a way. So I want them to think that. I want them to feel seen, like, wow, it's true, right? It's 6 months until my birthday. They're paying attention and blah, blah, blah. But I also want them to feel very relaxed, and I don't want them to get triggered by any of the messaging into like anxiety or, you know, unpleasant feelings, because we always want to leave the reader in a better place than we found them. Now, on top of that, we have like if you wanted to think in business terms, the main goal of this email is to connect our audience with our brand and build brand loyalty, because we are still a business and there is always an agenda, right? So this is kind of what we're aiming for. We want to, I'm just plugging in my charger. Yeah, we want to connect with them on like a deep level, and we want to kind of build this brand loyalty, so they do, when they receive that sales email, they remember this one, or the interaction kind of stays in their heart, and they're like, okay, I love this brand and I love to open their emails, etc. So you want to keep doing this, because this will mean your open rates will be higher, your click-through rates will be higher, your order values will be higher. Like, these emails are the glue for a good business, basically. Excuse me, I just choked on my spit. Okay, so whenever you open an email, the first thing you have to think about is your customer and what they're doing, right? So this customer is very likely, usually for this brand, we send out the email around lunchtime. So maybe they're just taking a moment after, during their workday. So you kind of want to put yourself in their shoes, like they're probably on their phone and they're just kind of going like, okay, they open the email. How do I grab their attention in the first sentence to make them read to the next sentence and to communicate to them what's about to happen and why they should read the email? So in this case, like this is what I'd written here. But this was like the rough, really, really rough draft. So I'm going to be reworking this draft, keeping the same idea, but using obviously copywriting techniques, which you should know because you're studying copywriting because you're amazing. But also you'll pick up a few things from me. So I just started it with like, hey, first name, or we could replace it with the default, which would be like friend. Hey, friend. I know that I'm just a person on the other side of the screen, and that you probably have not received an email like this from a brand that you shop with. But you see, I care about you. I care about everyone who is connected with me. Oh, wow. I'll just rotate this. Okay, so what I would do is, instead of saying, I know that I'm just a person on the other side of the screen and that you probably have not received an email like this from a brand that you shop with. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to communicate this like, hey, I want you to pay attention to this email because it's something different. I mean, that's the idea behind the sentence. So instead of saying this, we could say, let's pretend the person's name is Sarah. So we could say, Sarah, this email might be a little bit shocking. I'm sorry if it comes across as intrusive, right? So we're causing a little bit of like, the word shocking, the word intrusive, it's causing the person to get curious. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean intrusive? Like, what do you mean shocking, right? So they're very likely to read on. So then we can communicate this like, most brands don't do this, and but I am, basically, and why and what's about to happen. So my sentence was about the brand Sarah. This email might be a little bit shocking. I'm sorry if it comes across as intrusive. I know that you've never received an email like this from a brand. I know that you've never received an email like this from a brand that you shop with. Okay, so here we're just like, we're always using this language like you. It might be shocking. In fact, we can even, we have the first name. So you want every sentence to sound personal and you want it to sound like you're really speaking to the person, right? That's why I keep saying, I know that you've never received an email like this from a brand that you shop with, because we're relating everything back to our customer. So what's the next idea, right? So I want to kind of go back to this nice voice. So we've had this shocking element that she's reading, and now I really want to give her a benefit of reading this email. And the benefit will be essentially we're helping this person reflect so that they can have the best year of their life next year, right? So we could say something like this. I know that you've never received an email like this from a brand that you shop with, and honestly, how could we say this? But you already know that I love to be different, and you do too. That's why you connected with my brand in the first place, right? So this is one of the USPs of the brand, that the jewelry that they're making is very unique. It's handmade. So I'm just kind of relating it back to the customer's experience with the brand, plus the USP of the brand, plus like this main benefit of like, well, this is what really connects us, and I'm just being congruent. And also this is this factor of, if you read, I think this let me just get it up for you so you understand. Was it Cialdini that wrote the Persuasion? Yeah. Okay. So if you read this book, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, in there he gives you like six different factors of persuasion, or like techniques of persuasion, and one of them is congruency. So people like to be congruent with what they said or what they already did. So we're kind of playing on that by reminding them that, you know, they connected with the brand and they love the brand because they want to be different. So we're kind of keeping them congruent, which is again encouraging them to keep reading the email and engaging with it, because it's what they said they like, kind of by their actions in the past. And remember that this email, we're not selling anything except for them to just read the email and engage with it and connect with the brand. So the next idea, so you see how every sentence is a different idea that I'm thinking through, and then I'm like, okay, how do I communicate this? So, Sarah, this email might be a little bit shocking. I'm sorry if it comes across as intrusive. I know that you've never received an email like this from a brand that you shop with, but you already know that I love to be different, and you do too. That's why you connected with my brand in the first place, right? So of course, like I spotted when I'm reading this out loud, I said, I know here, and then you already know here. So maybe I would edit it different. Maybe I would edit it later on so that it sounds different, so there's variation in the language, but just this is still like one of the first drafts, so we're just working with the ideas. So then we want to communicate the benefits. So this would be, you know, this idea that this email could potentially be something that will completely change their next 18 months. So you already know that I love to be different, and you do too. That's why you connected with my brand in the first place, right? So, and let me just think for a moment. Okay, so to connect the idea of, because the idea I had in the original draft was to say that the reason I'm sending out this email is because I care about you. So we said here that, you know, Sarah, you connected with my brand because this is what we both love, to be different. And then I say, well, I care about you too, which is implying to Sarah that she cares about the brand owner. And here I wanted to say the benefit, but then I didn't want to sound gimmicky and be like, I'm going to change your life. So I actually played on the idea, and I said, and I don't know if this email will drastically change how your life will look over the next 18 months, but it might just. So instead of coming on with like this strong, like, whoa, this is what I'm going to do for you, I'm coming in from like this very casual, normal place that we might all say like, hey, I don't know if this is going to help you, but it helped me, so I'm going to tell you. So this just sounds more natural, and it's like easier to receive when you're the reader, as opposed to, you know, if I just try to force you this idea. So then we move on to this, like, your birthday is in 6 months, and like I want to encourage you to reflect. Okay, so here I wrote, just to connect it, just a straight sentence. You see, your birthday is coming up in 6 months. And then I realized that a bunch of people might have just put like a false birthday, but also I think it's quite funny because we've all done that at some point. Like, we kind of, as we go through life, we realize how like online marketing works. So then people figure out like, oh, if I add something to cart, I'm gonna receive an email with a discount. Or if I give them my birthday and say it's in 1 week, they're gonna send me a discount in 1 week. So I kind of played a joke about this, and I just said, unless you gave me the wrong date of birth just to bag a discount, we've all been there. I bet you weren't expecting a deep email instead. And then we could put something like, sorry, not sorry. Right, just to be a little bit sassy and like play with it. Now, obviously, you would be adapting this to your brand's voice, but this is like particularly, close to what my brand voice sounds like, but then I have to edit it anyway. Okay, so now I'm saying you're halfway between your last birthday wish and your next birthday wish. So I wanted to get this idea across like, hey, this is like the halfway point. And birthdays tend to be the time where we reflect on our past year and then we look forward to the next year. So I'm kind of getting the idea across like you're at the halfway check-in point, but I'm framing it in a positive way where I'm saying you're halfway between your last birthday wish and your next birthday wish, instead of being like, hey, did your goals come true? Like the things that you said you would, did you do them? And blah blah blah. I'm just framing it in a more positive way. Okay, so I wrote a bunch and I just want to take you through it. So we finished here. You're halfway between your last birthday wish and your next birthday wish. Now, this part, I wanted to take the reader into a story, kind of so it reads almost like a book, but it's very emotional and it's very deep. So it doesn't just read like an email. So I'm saying, imagine that you're 6 months into the future. So I'm instructing them, and it's a very simple instruction. And then in case they're about to be like, oh, what's going on, losing their attention or whatever, I'm saying, trust me, just go along with it. So then again, these are very like commanding words, and I'm asking them to play along with the game. It's the evening of your birthday and the person you love the most is holding a beautiful birthday cake in front of you. Okay, so here we have a lot of like visual stuff. We're saying it's the evening of your birthday, so maybe they will be, there's just random noise, sorry. I have no idea what that was, but that was freaking loud. Anyway, it's the evening of your birthday and the person you love the most. So they will immediately imagine a person and they will imagine themselves maybe at their home or maybe at a restaurant, and then a beautiful birthday cake. So although these are quite vague, at the same time to that specific person, their brain will put the right images in place so it will mean a lot to them. Then I say the little flames on top of the candles are dancing around as if they're celebrating with you. I mean, we can all picture this when you're about to blow out the candles on your cake and the little flames are like, wee. And then you hear your loved one say, make a wish, Sarah. So this would be the first name of the person, whatever the name is. We could change it to love as well if we don't have their first name. Make a wish, my love, or whatever. Then time slows down just for you. And you think back over the last 12 months and you're overwhelmed with joy. You're so overwhelmed that your eyes fill up with tears and you are struggling to keep them back. Okay, so we're putting them in this like scenario of how they're feeling there with their loved ones. It's like celebration, it's evening, it's beautiful, and now they have tears of joy in their eyes. And then I'm saying, what are you thinking about? What is it that made you feel so grateful and joyous? So grateful and joyous. So this is me. In other words, like in the original email, I said to them, on my next birthday, I will look back and smile because then just before I blow out the candles, I will wish for ... But what I'm doing here is I'm doing that, but I'm putting them in the scenario so they really feel it. And also this is for them, because if they put themselves, even you, if you do this right now, when you put yourself in this case scenario, it's so much easier for you to imagine what you would have liked for you to happen over the next 6 months or 8 months or however many months you have until your birthday, than if I just said like, what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen before your next birthday? So here I'm really putting them into the story, like they are the hero of the story. And this is storytelling. And we are making the customer the hero. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the second part of the reflection, which is we're going to ask them what they will wish for. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to keep this email focused on this part, and then the email in 3 months is going to be about their next wish. Okay, so what I'm ending it with is like a message of hope more than anything else, and just uplifting. So it said, what are you thinking about? What is it that made you feel so grateful and joyous? Whatever it is, Sarah, I have good news for you. There are still 6 months left until your birthday. plenty of time for wishes, big and small, let's put a comma here, to come true. Okay, and then I'm just going to sign it off with a quick... Okay, so I ended the email with, and that's all I want you to keep in mind. Crazy, right? 1 minute you're buying jewelry from me, the next I'm reaching out to you with this. Do you know why? Because you are more to me than just a customer. You are part of my community, and I want us to grow, flourish, and thrive together. So let's make a deal, Sarah. I'll reach out to you in 3 months and we'll talk about your wish for your next birthday. Until then, XOXO. So basically the email ends. The CTA here, you could say, is for them to just keep an eye out for the future emails, but there's no like pushy CTA like do this or do that. Like the whole idea of this email was to get them to engage. Now, if you're sitting here like, Adriana, that's not copywriting, let me tell you that emails like this, like if we're talking money, emails like these can outperform traditional sales emails. They're just like buy this, buy this, buy this, because there's always a little menu at the top or the logo, and people just feel connected to the brand and they click through and they buy something if they want, or they get primed and they get connected, and later on they always come to this brand to buy. And we see this through when you implement flows and emails like this. You see the whole email channel just blow up, and like the order values increase, the open rates increase, like the engagement, everything just increases. So yeah, copywriting is not just, hey, here's a attention grabbing headline, some text in between, and a strong CTA. No, it's much more than that. It's about communication and connection. And I hope that this is helping you understand that, and that there are people on the other side. And of course, this is going to highly depend on who you're selling to and who you're writing to and who you're communicating with and on whose behalf you're communicating. But this is just to give you an idea, like for this specific brand, this is perfect. So yeah, the next email of this flow would be similar, just, you know, the same tone, the same idea, no hard selling. We're just continuing. And then of course you would have people that would be celebrating their second birthday with the brand. So then we would adjust the flow to be like, hey, you know, we've already done this once, and we're personalizing this, we're changing it up for every year, so they're not receiving the same message every single year, because this is so personal, they're very likely to remember it. And yeah, that's everything. I hope that you enjoyed it. Oh wait, and I have a message for you. Also, just to say this, a lot of you have commented under my previous video like, welcome back, and we're so happy you're here. And I see you reading the comments. Thank you so much for welcoming me back after my vacation, which was only like a month, but it was very much needed. And if you enjoyed this type of content, keep commenting, keep liking, keep subscribing, sharing it, and whatever else, because essentially that's what keeps me going and gives me the motivation to keep teaching you. So yeah. Oh, and of course there are links below with like my courses and stuff, which are on super discount. So yeah, okay, cool.